Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who kept us going for over 350 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames Dude of the week is Chase R. Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
And as always, we have a sponsor to thank, and we're talking about Manscaped. So they recently sent me the Beard Hedger Pro kit to check out. And I got to be honest, it's the coolest. It's the coolest beard trim. Like this is the easiest product ever for me to sell because I fucking love it.
So like Manscaped's moving up a bit. You know, they're now they got products to make sure your carpets, or I'm sorry, your drapes match your carpets. So
yeah,
they've been carpet cleaning you for a while now. Now it's time to talk about them curtains on your face.
I mean, they really are kind of a total body experience now. They've got the Smooth Pro kit. They've got the Beard Hedger Pro kit. They've got the Lawnmower 4.0 kit. They sort of take care of you just like head to toe, taint to tip kind of deal. But a couple of my favorite things about the Beard Hedger Pro kit, if you're in the market for a beard trimmer, this is one of the coolest setups I've ever seen. You can adjust on the fly with this little rotating bezel to get it kind of by 0.5 millimeter, which means that you can get like a lot of good fade in. You can make your sideburns match the side of your head. And for those of us that are follically challenged, that's kind of important. You don't want like a hard line between your sideburns and your much shorter hair on your head, or if you've completely cut your hair off on your head. So for me, I've always had kind of a problem making that match, and it bothered the shit out of me. This time, as you can see, it blends completely in. It's great. I do love it. And the kit comes with like basically everything you could possibly need for your beard, for your face balls. They've got the beard oil, which is what prevents that like itchy skin you might get if you don't dry your beard out completely. You'll get like patches of drier, itchier skin. Beard oil is the thing that helps with that. They've got the beard shampoo. They've got a beard pomade and a beard conditioner. I don't have room on my desk for how big this kit is. They've got two comb and a brush if your beard is longer, for taming your curly ass beard if you got a curly beard like I do when it gets long. And then they've even got the scissors to help with like runaways and stuff. It really is like an all-encompassing kit. And of course, they've got a carrying case for the Beard Hedger, which is really nice travel case, carries the cord and the Beard Hedger Pro. Now, I'm going to show a picture of the whole kit so you can see that on screen right now. It's got a lot. It is comprehensive is the word. But if you're interested in checking this out, please head over to manscaped.com. Use our code YoVG, all caps, for 20% off, free shipping worldwide. Your face balls will thank you. That is manscaped.com. Our code is YoVG, all caps, and that's 20% off and free shipping worldwide. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually pretty happy to hear that, you know, it works as well as it does, because like the lawnmowers worked very well.
I like the lawnmower. Oh, you know, that is something we should talk about. Don't try to use this on your balls. I mean, I guess you could. You don't have to listen to me. I'm not.
You're saying like the beard trimmer, like when you take away the guards, it's very sharp.
It's super sharp.
Yeah. So, like it works.
It works real damn good. I would not do this on the balls. Too much skin that can just kind of like get caught in there.
Yeah. That's why the lawnmower, and the lawnmower, we both could test the lawnmower works very well.
Works great. Yeah, very happy with the lawnmower. I just you know, there's a lot of like beard products out there, and this is one of the first trimmers that I've ever been like, oh, I actually dig it. This is one of the easiest things for me to gush about because I very much am on board with this thing. Also, we love several of their products, right? We like this. We especially love the boxers. Big fan of the boxers. Big fan of the
warm all day yesterday at a theme park.
Yeah, how'd that feel?
Felt
fucking wonderful, like getting
like,
hugged
well,
by an angel.
I didn't even notice.
uh, speaking of didn't even notice, look at all this shit Nintendo slipped in under the radar. They slipped it in like a gentleman. This is well, you put it like this is the reason Nintendo won't be at E3 because
Yeah,
this was their E3.
yeah, exactly. Because like, so this is why we're a little later on this particular week because we saw this was coming up and it was like, and I was gone all day while it was happening, so we couldn't like live react or record right after. I'm
Right.
I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. But yeah, like okay, so they're like, we're gonna have a direct and it's gonna be like 40 plus minutes. So it's like Nintendo's taking this big fat steaming shit. Where like all of their fucking product is being oozed out.
You know, for fear of sounding like an asshole, I shouldn't say this, but I didn't think they were going to have anything to show.
I think that's fair too, because like it was kind of quiet for a while. It's like, okay, well, it's like we have a Kirby, port, and we have Zelda coming out, and there's like this Bayonetta spinoff, and it's like it kind of felt like Nintendo could coast on this. And then the reports were coming out that Nintendo wasn't even going to be at E3. They didn't have anything worth showing, and it just kind of felt like I feel like Nintendo before yesterday. I was really under the assumption that like, wow, Nintendo's really putting all their fucking eggs in one basket. Woof.
Yeah,
Like I was feeling bad. Like this sucks. Like there were, and the crazy thing too, before we really get into it, there were so many things that were rumored that never happened, and then they fucking suddenly happened here.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say like a lot of this is rumored stuff, but nothing. There wasn't really any major leak.
Yeah.
That like this is something. But this happened with Hi-Fi Rush. Like how are they keeping this stuff under wraps?
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is like for one of the big ones in particular, rumored for like over a year that it existed, and then it never got announced. So basically, everyone had basically written it off that like, oh, all these rumors were bullshit. This never really existed.
Right.
And like Nintendo, for some fucking reason, decided, no, it was real. We're just gonna like not reveal it at any point you think we would that would make any business sense, and then we'll just shadow drop it. Like,
unbelievable.
okay.
Well, that's another thing we should talk about really quick is the amount of things that they announced yesterday where they were like, it's available now or available.
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's the new like big dick move, right? Microsoft did that, sure, but like that's.
I mean, shadow drops are not necessarily new, but usually they're not for games this big.
Right, yeah, it's not new, but it is kind of the big dick thing to do now is like announce a game that is very good or a game that's anticipated out of nowhere and just be like, hey, there you go. Yeah. Let's start on a positive note. What was the thing you saw yesterday that you were most pleased about? And we'll go through it all.
But it's the Xenoblade 3.
Yeah, all right. I figured.
It's the Xenoblade 3Ts.
Yeah, that's fair. What besides that? Anything surprising?
Many things surprising, and then there was like things that were in the direct that. Okay, here's the crazy thing. There was a game shown in the direct, but in the direct they didn't mention there's a demo fucking drop for it yesterday.
Right. Oh, which one? Wait, yeah. There's
for Sea of Stars.
Oh, that's yeah.
It got a public demo. It was in the direct, but they didn't mention that.
I started writing down everything because there was so much shit getting announced that I just didn't expect. I was like, oh, I'll memorize it. I started writing everything down because of how many.
I think like Samba de Amigo coming back is fucking awesome.
Hilarious,
too.
Yeah.
It gets a little overshadowed, but like it's fucking awesome.
One of the only game I'll tell you the game that was a shock for me that I'm really excited about. It's Fashion Dreamer. I've always wanted to be a fashion influencer, and they spent more time on that than I wanted. But no, True. I thought that one, it was sort of amazing that they started with Pikmin 4 after we made so many jokes about Pikmin, and here it is, Pikmin 4.
Okay, I mean, look, I'm very positive. This is an 11 out of 10 direct for me personally, but I will have some things to say, which will piss some people off, but if fuck them. Some of the things were shown, and it's cool that they showed them, but I wasn't really overly impressed with what was shown. And we'll start right off the gate with Pikmin 4.
You didn't love the dog?
It didn't look bad, but it was just kind of like, it's more Pikmin. And maybe that's fine. I'm sure it's fine for, all the people who love Pikmin. I'm sure Arlo came in his puppet at least 3 times yesterday.
I've made so many jokes about Pikmin, and then while watching that Pikmin trailer, I had this realization that should have hit me years ago. But do you remember that game? It's like Overlord.
Yeah,
I had such a
Overlord.
great
It was a
loved Overlord.
Pikmin clone.
It's Pikmin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Overlord. And then I'm watching it yesterday and I was all like, I talk so much shit about Pikmin, and I just finally, after a fucking decade.
Yeah, well, it's because Pikmin 4 is using a more like zoomed down third person camera, which Overlord did, when Pikmin
Right.
was usually overhead or like, above. So now Pikmin 4 is like a little, but yeah, all this I'm like, Pikmin, it looked fine, right? And it was weird because it was just footage, like there wasn't any explanation. And then after the trailer, Shinya Takahashi was sitting there like, "Did you notice there was a dog?" Like he's telling you, like you watching fucking Blue's Clues. Like he's not even really explaining in any more details. Like, did you notice there was a thing? Did you see that?
And it's a two-legged dog too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it was great for again. It was a long Pikmin thing because they were on it for like 4 minutes or something or close to it. Like
How come one of the best things they showed yesterday was the Metroid Prime remaster?
right?
Why was essentially a GameCube game the best looking thing on a Switch?
Well, I mean, it's remade. That's
I
not the
know.
GameCube game.
I know, but it still sort of annoys me that the Switch is so old that everything on the Switch looks like the DS game now. Isn't that kind of upsetting? Like they're using the same builds that they would use on a DS, like the same way that characters look and shit. I was sort of like, I mean, granted, Tears of the Kingdom looks pretty fucking cool, but it just seems like they're not even trying to push the envelope on anything anymore.
Maybe they've kind of realized, like when they do, like it just chokes the life out of I don't know. Who the
Runs
fuck
like
knows?
shit.
The system's goddamn old. But like they did a lot to like sort of, I guess, soften the blow of the age of this fucking thing. But yeah, Pikmin looks fine. I don't have anything negative to say about Pikmin other than like it didn't really do. I don't think it did anything to sell to people who aren't already Pikmin fans. I don't know if there's anything in there that was like,
well, you're 4 in. Are you even really trying to sell anybody new now?
I know. I mean, they make him out of obligation, when Miyamoto, wants another Pikmin. Excuse me.
when he's feeling nostalgic for a Pikmin because he's been spending too much time in his backyard.
Like, yeah, like sitting there like fucking inhaling shrooms or something. I don't know.
Well, that's it. Wasn't that Miyamoto was inspired by his backyard for both Mario and for Pikmin?
Yeah. So, and I've heard the report that like, he was just sitting there staring at like his garden or whatever, and he was getting like a sort of like aroma high off of some shit. That's probably where this came from.
I mean, that is inspiring. If only we could all be that creative. And I'm not even saying that as a joke. Like if you could literally just look at your garden and be like, here's an idea. Damn.
Well, so it comes out July 21st, which immediately lies about Nintendo's whole like, this is first half of the year. Here's our first game in technically the second half of the year. Whatever.
I'll give them that one. There's like 4 or 5 games I think that where they're clearly like this is coming out at the end of the year because they just said 23.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let them have it, I guess. Does that mean that the second half of the year is just empty? Like they don't have
it's just
anything?
gonna be like smaller things, like Pikmin,
right?
And another like indie darlings.
Yeah. So truly,
like
the big draw or the big release window is no longer fall. It's now, March.
Yeah. Well, there's gonna probably be a Pokemon Direct at the end of this month. There usually is, and there'll probably be some Pokemon game announced. And that'll be their big fall title because they will not fucking need anything else.
Well, that was a lot of people were saying they were expecting this to be the Pokemon Direct, and I was like, well, I don't.
Pokemon's get their own Direct. I don't know why people still
thing,
can't remember this. Like Pokemon stuff only happens unless it's E3 at the Summer Digital event, as they call it. Like Pokemon gets its own stuff.
I was doing the classic mistake of reading the comments during a stream. And you should never do that. You should never do that. It just makes you upset all the time because no one is pleased about anything in comments. There'll be like one person who's like, oh, this is just for me. And you're like, wow, hey, that guy's happy. And everyone else being like, L, mid, terrible. Ugh. You're just like, okay, all right. You can't read that shit, especially. And if you're a starting streamer, this goes for you too. Don't read the comments.
Yeah.
You're starting out on YouTube, don't do it. Don't read the comments. You're going to be real upset.
Yep,
It's always
exactly.
coming. Then of course we got your Xenoblade shot to the chin. You were real happy about that.
Yeah. So it was mostly just like, hey, we're adding a new character, which we knew was coming. It was already data mined, so people already knew what it looked like. Got a name for it. But then they said, hey, they're adding a roguelike thing to the battle arena, where like you pick one character, you pick a character of the main 6, and then as you win battles, you're able to randomly get a choice of which extra hero you want to add to your party. Because like the battles ahead will get like tougher and tougher, and like you have these random upgrades and random like stat boosters and other like you build up your party randomly. Like
so this is a whole new mode for the game, or
yeah,
is
it's a whole new mode. It's like not part of the main game. You can go to a battle arena and then they'll load in like this whole roguelike thing.
Well, that's some of my favorite stuff from RPGs is like when an RPG has a mini game that is just as good as the full game.
Yeah,
Kind of the joke being Gwent from like
from Witcher. Well, there was like kind of like there was a little bit of a bummer because some people were like, we got the battle arena last like October or something, and like a lot of people were saying like there wasn't a lot there. There was like a list of challenges, and like, it feels like with 2 there was way more battle arena stuff. Why did it seem like we just didn't get much with this one? And it looks like the answer was because they were building a roguelike mode to be extra add to it rather than just a bunch of different boss challenges,
which is good because roguelike is sort of hitting it right now.
Yeah, and it's not like
roguelike games,
and this is nothing to do with the main game. It's literally to get like costumes for characters, which is really fun because they're all reference costumes. You're earning costumes of characters from the last 2 games to put on the cast of part 3.
Right.
So that's fun. And then they showed a really quick teaser for the big DLC campaign, which is very big for fans because like to put this to make it simple, Xenoblade 3 went out of its way to be standalone. Like it's absolutely connected to the past 2 games, but they didn't want new players to be lost, like terminology or characters or whatever. You're playing a cast of characters with their own problems and their own story in this world that is technically from the past, but like there's not a lot of stuff that like there's like nothing required. You are required to know nothing. Everything plays out in a very closed circuit way for part 3. Part 3 can be completely started and enjoyed, and you're not going to feel lost on anything. Went out of their way not to make anyone feel lost. The DLC campaign, on the other hand, is like Avengers or more than Avengers. It's like, okay, we did all that to make sure that the part 3 is standalone for newcomers. The DLC campaign is all fan service. Like it's all going to get questions you had that we left unanswered answered.
Or I'm specifically for 3 or connecting 3 to the rest of it.
More connecting 3.
So so for the DLC campaign, you're going to want to have all that.
Yeah, from the brief thing we got, you don't want to play the DLC campaign without playing through 1 and 2 because like you have the main characters of 1 and 2 now much older, and they're fighting against a good guy from part 1, a mentor character who seems to have gone rogue. But I like it because they even within the tiny like 20-second teaser, you see this character and they're like one of the main character from 1 is shouting at him like, why would you do this kind of thing? How could you? And then the main character from 2 is like, he's just a machine. He can't understand human emotion or whatever. And it's like, that's true because it's this big spoiler from the end of 1. This mentor character turned out to be an AI. And then in 2 clarified a little further exactly what the AI is, what it was. And now in this DLC campaign for 3, it's kind of like, okay, like if you didn't play it, you'd be like, who the hell is this? If you did play it, you'd be like, oh my god, why is so and so character going bad? And it's like, well, if you play through one to the end of one, and if you remember in two, it's an AI technically. So
And AI is bad. That's very hot right now.
yeah. Well, it's very much like, okay, so what exactly happened? And I'm very much in the camp of like, I think it did a calculation on the multi, like the two universes colliding. And I'm
Right.
like,
Okay.
this might explain a lot why 3 is this weird mushed together world and it's frozen in time, because it probably is an AI that calculated this is the only way to survive, or this is the highest probability of survival rate is for me to do this thing.
Oh, so possible spoilers, but you think maybe that this AI character is the one who causes 3 to even happen.
Right.
Cool.
Right. Because there was a lot of like somewhat vagueness in 3. Exactly how did this world get put together? They tell you a little bit, but it's still kind of like feels a little open ended a bit. And this one seems to be sort of and to me, like, okay, this would be a very good job of explaining how did 1 and 2 make 3, rather than, because in 3 you can just play it and accept it. Okay, yeah, they're in this world and they're in this eternal proxy war. But it's like, now you can understand. It's kind of like, okay, this is getting way geopolitical here, but it's kind of like how I recently am like, okay, so how exactly did Taiwan get to the point it is? And it's like, because there was a civil war, with China, where the Communist Party, was at war with some of the more democratically minded, and then when they kind of lost, where did they go? They went to Taiwan. I'm like, so why? That's why there's this sort of like standoff animosity between them, because like it's not just kind of like, it's not like the island just decided one day like, hey, we don't like you, we're not part of you. It's like, well, the remnants
of the nationalist government
went to Taiwan. So it's like, that was like this thing. Like I was like, oh, I missed that whole history, about that, or like learning more about the Russo-Japanese War, and why they pushed in for that. And there's like, and I feel like in history, why did Japan attack Pearl Harbor? Because we fucking cut off their oil supply from like the Philippines and other areas. So it's like,
Yeah.
there's this whole thing that they don't tell you about.
I mean, there's always something left out depending on who's the one saying.
Right. Well, it's like, there's so much leading up to them, like, because like they always tell you like, yeah, this happened, and then we went to war, and then and it's like, well, what led to this? And I'm like, there's so much pre-World War II history that just kind of gets glossed over, from like the late 1800s to like early 1900s, that just doesn't get told. And it's such a, I feel like it's such an important thing, weirdly, where it's like, bro, if you understand the Russo-Japanese War, that's World War Zero, as some historians call it, for a good reason,
right?
Because it set up a lot of things that would come to pass, and it's like, oh, okay, like it just that, and I think considering the writers, I think that's exactly where they're going with Xenoblade 3. It's like, okay, we had this thing, there was this big war in 3, and then like you did 3 and you solved it or whatever, and then this is about like, okay, you might have known the history of 1 and 2, but how did 1 and 2 lead to 3? This DLC looks like that's the answer, in a very sci-fi way.
I wish I liked the art style more, because it seems like I would probably like everything else about the game.
And it's the thing too, is like, a lot of people think, oh, you love 2. I'm like, yeah, 2's fucking character designs fucking suck. Like, they do. I love the game. I love the game more than anything. I'm not going to tell you the art style is good in 2. It's not.
Yeah, I can't see my way past the art style of it. So
I think that's a bit of a shame, though, because like, you played Rare games. Hell, you played Blasto.
That's true. But I also played Blasto when, it was bought for me, and I'm not getting another game for several months. So yeah, I'm gonna play it. Now I am spoiled for
true now.
But okay, we're gonna jump past Samba de Amigo.
No, why would we do that?
Well, because we both know it's going to be fun. There's not really like,
we
don't have to sell this to you.
Well, the one sad thing was just kind of like, oh, do you think this game will be completely, like Max, like, do you think this game will be completely unsafe to stream? I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't see any of the music
Yeah, because they even said it's going to have all these different music genres, EDM and da 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 da, and
Yeah.
like, and this one from all these popular song artists. I'm like, yep, well that.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I was like, Hi-Fi Rush, sort of brilliant because they had a streamer safe music mode.
Yeah, they made a whole soundtrack on their own for the game to fit in with the game.
Yeah.
Like super good, super level genius stuff on that.
I think because one, they just knew that Game Pass is sort of a streamer's heaven. You have constant access to a
Mhm.
changing library of stuff.
Yeah,
And so they knew that Hi-Fi Rush was probably going to be a streamer
yeah.
pick.
You got your Fashion Dreamer game, which I know you were very excited about.
Fashion Dreamer.
I'm not even
I
going to
just
pretend to know anything about this shit.
well, I mean, I watched I know exactly what they showed in the it looks like a DS game. It
It
is a DS
does.
game. It's a fucking DS.
It looks like Style Savvy on the DS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we had Dead Cells Return to Castlevania.
That looked
Which
great.
I thought it looked cool. I sort of didn't like the actual art style of it. It looked
Yeah,
muddy.
I kind of get what you're saying.
It looked muddy, but it looks like it's gonna be cool. It looks, if you like Castlevania, you're gonna like this. Period.
Yeah, and it's got 51 songs, a number of them being remixes. That's awesome.
That is really cool. Then you're gonna have Tron Identity. It's a puzzle game.
Which looked way low budget.
Well, okay. My question is, when you think about Tron, is it a point and click puzzle that you think of?
No.
Like, I think of like PvP, PvE type.
Wouldn't it make? I mean, I know they've done it, but like, wouldn't it make sense to just have like a sort of like it's sort of like a BR like Fall Guys, where it's just kind of like you go into these different mini games or like battle games, and it changes up each one, and it's like
Smash TV.
Yeah, it's like it just lowers the count of like users until you get to the point where like no one's left or like last man standing from all these different Tron cycles, disc throwing, yada yada, whatever.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I don't know where the point and click came from for Tron. We know at least one person who's going to fucking lose it and love it, probably. And I'm really happy for them. I am legitimately like, hey, that's great. I just don't understand why. Who is this for? I sometimes ask.
Yeah, because
not Tron fans, right?
Because like I'd be interested in a game that was like a third-person shooter / racing game where it's a bunch of different modes, rapid fire, like Fall Guys. Take the outline of Fall Guys, but make it about like racing and shooting, and then you do shit like that. And then I would be interested in that. Like that would be like, hey, if this comes to Game Pass, I'm on board. What I saw was like,
I don't.
I'm not that. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. Someone's in it. Speaking of DS games, though, the next game was
Ghost Trick Phantom Detective is DS game.
Yes, this is a literal DS game. Okay, awesome. It was very well animated when it came out. But I remember like, okay, cool. I guess no reason not to. But like, it's just one of those pleasant surprises. Like, oh, cool. This game's not gonna fucking like die on this system that like no one owns or has any easy way to get a hold of anymore. Cool.
Yeah, I still sort of maintain that now, after having had the Switch for a while, I miss the DS size handheld. I do miss the DS size.
Yeah, there's a little
like that's like the Switch
more compact, a little more.
I've done a couple of big trips with a Switch, and it's more pain than pleasure.
Yeah, you have to lug it around and shit. So
yeah. Now, granted, now when I travel, I'll use like a sling bag. They're way more popular, and they're getting more popular here every day. But, just yeah.
Can you tell we're based in LA?
Yeah. Yeah. But then of course you got Deca Police, which I didn't get in.
This was out of left field. Level 5 actually had 3 game announcements, and it was looking like that company was fucking dead. So I guess this is like their sort of like big resurgence mode was in this Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, how many teams do they have?
I don't know. That's the part where I'm like, wow, 3 games. I thought you were fucking dead. I thought there was like 5 guys left, barely holding on.
I mean, none of the games that they had shown are necessarily like super intense on assets and
Yeah,
stuff, but like
right.
it's still that's 3 fucking you got to have at
They
least
must have
3
had
teams.
some sort of investment cash fund, something put into them. That's the only thing I can think of. And
Or
maybe
maybe
that was
it's
Nintendo. And maybe it was Nintendo was doing the one doing it.
yeah, that's
Nintendo
entirely
just
possible.
decided to like fund cash into them to like get a bunch of exclusives. Because I don't know if these are exclusive, but they didn't exist till today. So I'm assuming at least probably Layton is. But yeah, Deca Police is this weird RPG. That's very got a bizarre as fuck art style. And it's basically like how police use like a VR world to like recreate scenes or whatever. And then
Right.
someone hacks that, and then it's like, I don't know. I don't know if they get trapped in their little VR investigation system or what. I don't know. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat. Like it's like, okay, cool. I think Max put it best. It feels like a PSP or Vita game. Like this is
Or
the kind
yeah,
of
it feels like
like a
another
DS
it's
game
a
or a
fucking
3
DS game.
like a 3DS game. Like it feels like this sort of like oddball kind of like, okay, we're not gonna have a huge budget, but we could do this kind of like weird idea, put it on a portable game and sell it. So again, you're right here where it's kind of like, yeah, this is the kind of thing you would see on a Vita or a 3DS or a PSP.
It's not bad.
Not
It's
bad
not
at
bad. Like
all. It's just
it's just
I think when we're saying that, we're saying that because like the DS and the PSP, they would have the oddball game concepts.
right.
People were a little more willing to risk stuff off the beaten path because it didn't cost as much. People weren't expecting as much, graphically from it. So like it's okay. Um,
Right. And they're not going to push any real boundaries on graphics or,
yeah,
performance, which is probably why all these games got greenlit now.
yeah,
Because the Switch is not going to blow any minds performance or graphical wise. Actually, funny enough, you probably were pretty happy about this, but Bayonetta Origins also looks like a DS game.
I'm I'm very curious about this game because it doesn't look like it plays anything like a Bayonetta,
Uh,
and like everyone has said, this looks like a passion project from the developers. It's like I, I'm more just like confused but intrigued by it. Um,
Right, yeah, it does look intriguing. I think it is sort of hilarious that they named the demon Cheshire and it looks
yeah,
like the Cheshire Cat.
yep.
Um, I guess they can't get sued for that, but it
No, no, it's public domain.
fe- feels like they were just straight like, I don't know, to fuck it, just pick something out
Well,
of a
I
book.
mean that Cheshire has been a thing in the games for all of them. She either uses it as a term. She has like a little doll, and 3 it was like a summon. Um,
Oh, and so this
so
is an origin, so obviously this is the origin of why. Okay. Um,
I guess she made a contract with a demon called Cheshire was her first demon contract. It's I don't know. Like I don't know. Like it feels like Platinum doing a weird take on like Overhead Zelda almost.
yeah,
Or
and
something similar to that ilk.
and she can't do combat yet, so she's doing support while Cheshire just fucks shit up,
Shit up, yeah.
which is cool.
It definitely gives me like a weird again PSP PS2 era vibe of a game.
Yeah, it does. It has that like handheld. I don't know. I don't
This is
think
a
it's
this
bad.
is
I
a
just
yeah.
never would have expected it.
This is a weirdo game that you would never expect to see on like a major home console in today's day and age.
Right.
Um, but
Which
I'm at least intrigued.
and it leans into that, what I would say is the Switch's power is that it can do both. It can be
Yeah,
the home console guy and it can be the handheld. Then you get Splatoon 3 expansion pass. First wave in spring 2023, and then the second one.
yeah. So they're bringing back the hub from the first game, and you can redecorate it, and then they're gonna do like some big depressing story expansion for the second set. Splatoon is interesting because it's the last great. It's the last game where Japan eats it up more than anyone else. Um, and
Yeah,
and I
which I
mean
find funny.
I mean that more in a mega sale way, not like, oh, there are definitely games in Japan that'll sell okay in Japan and do nothing here, but I mean million sellers. Like Splatoon 3 is the last million seller that's lopsided to Japan. because 6.8 million people in Japan bought Splatoon 3, and the rest of the world bought 3 point something million. So it's lopsided in it's lopsided in Japan's favor. 6.4, 6.8, something like that. Anyway,
we
so
should
like
look up the games that do that, like where that's true, and see if there's any commonalities.
there's nothing left, like I mean, except for Dragon Quest, I think. That'll still sell gangbusters in Japan, and they've never been able to do well out here. But yeah, like Splatoon 3, it struck a chord with Japan in a way that it didn't anywhere else. And the only way I can sort of explain it is like it's their Fortnite, for them. Like it basically is their Fortnite. It's their big, colorful online third-person shooter thing. I have no idea, what it is that gravitated, so heavily towards the Japanese audience. It's a game about squids and kids. There's a hentai joke in there somewhere.
Fuck. That's the episode title, Squids and Kids.
But like, I don't know. I'm just happy Nintendo was able to launch a new IP and be successful, like with something completely different, even if I'm not interested in it.
Right,
Like,
that is fun. Yeah.
Like to me, the greatest success of Splatoon for me, is just kind of like, hey, Nintendo can still make new shit that's good and sells well. Awesome. Because like I feel like Nintendo, other than fucking Pikmin, the minute something stops selling, they give up on it. Like Star Fox is dead, F-Zero is dead.
Well, Nintendo definitely has that churn mentality. Where like they don't try to resurrect things.
Yeah.
They just keep going. Just churn through.
Yeah, like and they're a business, so I get you have to operate it as a business like that, but it kind of sucks that, like so many weird ass like franchises are just kind of like dead again, like
right.
Pilot Wings, Kid Icarus, F-Zero, Star Fox, just gone. Just dead, dead.
What do you mean? There's an F-Zero coming soon. You can play.
But no, like no, I'm. It's one of those things. Like I'm glad Splatoon 3 is getting both a major multiplayer and a major single player expansion, because they're really capitalizing on the fact that it's like, and it's like for fighting games too, where it's like, what makes a fighting game really truly successful is if it's able to appeal to more than just the fighting game crowd, like people who just want to enjoy a game, maybe play a story mode, enjoy it for like a week or whatever, and don't want to compete, against like the whole world. That's what Mortal Kombat got right. I think that's what Street Fighter 6 is going for, and that's what Splatoon kind of did. Has a big single player campaign separate from its big multiplayer offerings and shit. So it's like good. Like that, and that's really tapping into it. And like how Fortnite outgrew so many of its origins and things, and now they have concerts in it and shit like that. So
kids just hang out in there.
Yeah.
Fortnite is the Minecraft of shooters.
Yeah, more or less.
Minecraft is now making Minecraft Legends to be the Minecraft of strategy games.
The StarCraft of Minecraft.
The StarCraft of Minecraft. And then after that, they showed Mickey and Friends Illusion Island, which actually reminded me of those old school, when we used to do Saturday morning cartoon streams.
Yeah.
It gave me those vibes mixed with Cuphead, obviously, because it's sort of that time frame of animation. It reminded me
a lot of Rayman Legends, Rayman Origins, like the 4-player Rayman 2D platformer they made right around when the Wii U came out.
Really? More than even Cuphead?
Yeah, because Cuphead is like Contra. And
yeah,
I guess this is more platformer based, and it is that's what I was getting out of it. It looks cool. It's got mechanics from World of Illusion, which I think is why it's called Illusion Island, because they have this thing where like one of the players can drop a rope to pick people up, and that's from a Genesis game called The World of Illusion. And I'm like, okay, so they're kind of like a spiritual sequel to like the Sega made.
Everything's got to be a fucking universe now.
I don't know if it's meant to be like canonically
the Illusion universe,
but like I get it. That's why it's called Illusion Island, because we're kind of, we have things from the Genesis Illusion games. Right. Okay, cool. I think it looks great. I'm gonna enjoy playing that. Either solo. I'm gonna enjoy playing it with my girlfriend. I'm gonna really maybe we'll have a video game stream where we all fucking hate each other by the end of it doing 4-player.
Yeah, that seems right. Yeah. Who does Steve pick? Is he?
Steve's Donald, and then he's going to claim that he's Mickey or something, just like Raphael and Donatello.
Can I tell you? I was gonna say Donald, but then I didn't know if he'd be mad about that.
He probably, I don't know.
It's like Steve's got big Donald energy.
I mean, he's not Goofy, and he's not Mickey or Minnie. So
Who's Goofy?
Kenny.
Kenny is Goofy. This is just like the Hogwarts houses. Is Max Mickey or Minnie?
It's a toss up.
Yeah, you and Max can just go back and forth on them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, you might be a Donald too.
Oh yeah, totally.
You're a Donald.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. If we can have two Donalds, we'll be doing good.
I think we're gonna have to have two Donalds. And then after that, Fire Emblem Engage. So the Fire Emblem people are gonna be real happy because
like they're adding more to this sort of. That's what it is. It's just it's an all-stars Fire Emblem game. That's the whole point of it, is that you get to recruit characters from old Fire Emblem games.
Right.
So they're adding a bunch like Hector and
a bunch came out that day.
Yeah, Crom and that's right. That was like another thing that like Shadow dropped that day.
And
Crom
then
Robin and then Booba Lady, whatever her name is, and
yeah, I don't know enough about Fire Emblem to even make jokes about all the different emblems. Like I didn't even know that that's what they were called. I didn't know that the characters were called emblems.
I don't think they are. I think that's just for this game.
Oh, because they were like, oh, new emblem, and would show a person.
I think that's a mechanic or something for this game. I don't think that has anything to do. I don't think they've ever referred to main characters as emblems in past games.
Okay, well, then
I might be wrong about that. I just don't remember that.
I know even less than I thought.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
And
Don't Nod has a game. You might be excited about this. The Harmony Fall of Reverie. Hey man, I believe Don't Nod is the Life is Strange people, if I'm not mistaken.
I wasn't sure.
So if you're getting a whole new Life is Strange, but with like a slightly different art style, I mean,
it's a different I don't know how to feel about it because it's still it feels point and click.
It's definitely a cinematic or whatever visual novel game. Like that's definitely what it is. I don't know, because it's like this is hard to say when like your whole game is based around its plot and story. How much do you really glean from the trailer? Did it look good? Yeah, it looked fine. It looked like a PSP or a Vita game.
I didn't want to shit on it. Like I'm not
shitting on it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't want people to think that I'm saying that as a criticism of it. It's just wild how much of the Switch library is just turning into that now. Like that's why whenever somebody's like, oh yeah, there's a market for Vita, I'm like, absolutely there is. Like they could totally come back. Like Vita could come back. Maybe not as
could have, but I think they've all just basically settled on the Switch now at this point, sadly. So
right. It's like every Vita developer just switched to making shit.
But maybe that's just the bet for the best, because like now it's no longer about like, can we get Witcher 3 to run on this? Can we get Doom Eternal? Now it's just like, all right, let's just make games these are like mobile PC, DS, PSP style games. It's just like, hey, this is what the system excels at, so we're just gonna go for it.
Right.
That's a general feeling consensus I get, at least from these game announcements they did. And then there was a bevy of other small snippets, Octopath 2, We Love Katamari coming back, getting a little.
No one's ever going to be mad about Katamari.
Does anyone remember when that game was mega popular for a hot minute? Or a quick minute?
It's still beloved?
I don't think anyone has. Well, no. Does anyone have bad memories of it? It's great. Like
it's not really. Yeah, it's not really a game that you can hate.
Yeah, you just can't charge $60 for it,
and they will.
They might
figure out a way.
They might, but it's like this is a $20 game, guys. At most, like that's definitely not going to be exclusive or anything. Sea of Stars got
Mitsuda
a little bit of a trailer update.
Composing. I figured that would make your dick real
Yeah,
hard.
he said he like hey, I'm only doing around 10 to 12 tracks. Like I'm not the main composer. He had to clarify that on Twitter, and I knew that.
Well, they called him a guest composer, yeah.
Right, yeah, it's a guest. Like, here's a crazy thing. There was not in the direct, but they dropped a trailer for it. Like, a trailer came out for it yesterday, even though like I feel like that didn't get stated in the direct, but it also got a release date of August 29th. So Another game that definitely is not first half of the year,
And
but
and it got a demo, right?
yeah, demo and release date. So that's awesome. There's an air hockey ass game, Omega Strikers, which kind of feels like almost ill timing after Knockout City got shut down and Rumbleverse got shut down. But maybe
We'll see if it survives.
it can survive. Like I doubt it will, but I like
Etrian
it.
Odyssey Remaster. I never played the original.
So 3DS games are getting put on the Switch.
Oh, crazy how that's
How
happening.
did you even did you know they were DS games?
It's crazy.
You did not know
I didn't.
these were DS games. These are DS RPG, like dungeon crawler first person RPGs.
Oh, but hey, you know what? It's finally got an announcement or a release date. Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot
Hell
camp.
yeah. I love how they didn't show
Any combat?
any combat or anything of the opposing, military. It's like,
Yeah, it's just dude punching off of a tree and yeah.
it's like, all right, Advance Wars. Hey, April 21st. Good. I'm
I
glad
am
they're
happy about that. It's crazy to me that it's all the way in April when that game's been ready to go for
a year.
But all right, April, fine. Happy about that. I don't think we need to go into how much more happy I am about that, especially because Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
Yeah,
The demo was released yesterday too.
That got a demo released yesterday.
Comes out February 24th.
It's getting an epilogue mode with a new character that has like a leveling system. Like that comes out at the end of the month. Again,
just seems really in depth for that game. Like they're really
the thing
supporting
is,
it.
Hal Laboratory loves, they make Kirby, and they just fucking love Kirby. So,
but I guess they also they really support it. They're not douching these out, and I think that's something that sticks out amongst a lot of other games, maybe of the same ilk.
Yeah,
because like a lot of those games just get fucking douched out. Kirby, whatever you want to say about Kirby, I've heard it called simplistic. I don't necessarily agree with that, but like, all right, it's not like the most complex game ever. But I don't think you could say with a straight face that they douche them out or they don't like support them. There's a lot of content in those games.
Yeah, it really shows too, because like it feels like Nintendo will like maybe shit out like Mario re-releases or whatever. Like the difference between how Hal handled Kirby's anniversary versus how Nintendo handled Mario's anniversary is like to me a little night and day.
Yeah, well, there's some cynical aspects to how Nintendo handles anything.
Yeah.
Like you can read the cynicism off of Nintendo, whereas Hal, they're just sort of happy to still be making those games.
Yeah.
If there is a joy to Kirby games that I almost don't see in Mario games anymore.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. The new Super Mario in particular are just completely fucking by the number soulless.
Right. And then there's the Game Boy games that are added to the Nintendo Switch Online. You got your Tetris.
Rumored and wanted forever, and they just wouldn't do it. And then they've just shadow dropped it yesterday.
You can finally play your favorite game that's ever existed.
Your favorite game, the best video game ever, shadow dropped on the Switch yesterday.
It's the most fine game that's ever been made. Link's Awakening you're very happy about. I'm sort of surprised Gargoyles Quest.
Yeah, that was what? Like that was kind of like, I hear it's very good. It's an early Game Boy game, but it's a Capcom game, and it's just kind of like, yeah, Gargoyles Quest. Why not?
A cousin of mine had it, which is the only reason I remember it, because it was the only Game Boy game they had, and we owned the Tank Game Boy, and so like we owned. I think the two big ones for us was Super Mario Brothers, which I can't even remember which one it was.
Yeah, Land 1 or 2.
And then like I owned Pokemon Red and my brother owned Pokemon Blue. And so like we'd go over to cousins' houses and like we'd have our two games in our pocket, and the game they had was Gargoyles Quest. And it's just like that's the only time I can remember it ever being talked about ever, was going over to a cousin's house.
Yeah.
I can't remember, like there's no culture around it. There's no reference to it. I can't think of any how is this the game they were like, yeah, let's put this in the
The only thing I can think of is like they got the Game Boy super early, and it was one of the early release games, and that's just how it happened.
Oh,
So what?
no, sure, yeah. My cousin getting it, they definitely got it super early. That was just kind of like their deal.
Yeah.
They get like their dad was very into having the cutting edge of whatever was being talked about,
Hmm.
and so like he probably never touched the fucking thing, but he was like, "Oh, it's the Game Boy. It's
He
the
has it.
fucking yeah, he has it." Uh, but like Gargoyle's Quest, is that super popular? Because again, the only time I've ever heard of it was a cousin owned it.
It's got a lot of. It has a small community that's like, yeah, these games are great because there's three of them.
Right,
There's one on Game Boy, and then there's an NES game, and then there was the Super NES Demon's Crest, which is the last one. Which like they're all very underrated. They're all kind of like that sort of like anyone who played this really likes it because it's really high quality, right? And then like
right.
so it
Well, it looks fun, and what I remember of it, it was fun to play. Like, I'm not saying
yeah.
it's a bad game. I had never heard anyone else talk about it.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those. It's like within like the super like in-depth gamer circles. People are like, yeah, those games are great. Anyone ever play those? Yeah, they're really good. They never took
Huh.
off. Um,
Wild. Wild that would be what they decide
or what
to
about a Game Boy Color version of Alone in the Dark?
yeah, well, that's kind of awesome. Like,
Like, I don't think you can get more left field than fucking that. But
I don't think I ever would like if we made bingo cards, never would have guessed it.
there's
Never in a
also
million.
some weird shit about it where it's just like they randomly selected like Game and Watch Gallery 3 and Wario Land 3.
Right.
Like, why the third game? What? I don't. Whatever.
Those must have been the best sellers. Like Game and Watch is another one that like before they put Mr. Game and Watch in Smash, like I had heard of it, but like very obscurely. Like I hadn't heard of anybody who
Yeah,
loved Game Watch. I hadn't heard of anybody who loved Ice Climbers. Like I knew who Ice Climbers were, but
yeah,
like I hadn't heard anybody who like loved
yeah.
them.
Was anyone clamoring for it? No.
Yeah,
Um,
but now, people love that shit.
and then future, they're gonna have the Oracle Zelda games, and then Pokemon trading card game, Kirby Tilt and Tumble. Now, trading card game is interesting because it feels like it's the only game Pokemon Company was comfortable with putting on the system.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
There probably still has to be a lot of negotiation to get red and blue on there. Um, Tilt and Tumble's interesting because it's a game that had a gyro sensor built into the cartridge. So I guess they're just going to be using the Switch's natural gyro shit. Cool, that's neat. That's for anyone who has the basic bitch subscription service. And then if you have the expansion, the $50 a year one, you also get Game Boy Advance.
Right.
So basic subs get Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Advanced or Expansion Plus people, they get Game Boy Advance as well. Oh, by the way, the best thing about all of this, it is playable online. Like they did go in there and make it so that you could play 2-player modes on the Game Boy games.
I probably that is the best part of all this.
Yeah.
It's
Is
the
that
thing you dreamed about as a kid.
Yeah. So if they ever do actually get Pokemon proper on there, you'll be able to actually connect and play people like your friends, of course, and be like, "Hey, fight me in Pokemon, you schmuck." Um,
Okay, you've been fucking around. It's time to go to Find Out Town.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, Game Boy Advance, that's pretty awesome.
Minish Cap is one of the ones for
Minish Cap, Mario
available
3.
again, all available yesterday, and then like F-Zero is coming eventually.
Yeah, F-Zero coming eventually. Golden Sun coming eventually.
Right.
Again, playable online, which is all awesome. And that was yesterday too, by the way. Like that was added to the service yesterday, as if there wasn't enough.
Yeah, and when we say yesterday, if you're listening to this later, February 8th. It's right
Yeah.
away. Day of the
Speaking of shadow drops, there's a big fat shadow drop after that.
yeah, Metroid Prime Remastered. Like that was who saw that coming?
I mean, it kept getting rumored and then it never showed up, so everyone thought the rumor people were full of shit, and then they're just like, "Oh, it's real and it's available today." Like,
and it looks great.
yeah, it looks really good. Retro actually did it themselves. And it has a dual analog control option now. If you want to have like a modern, FPS control option on it.
The weird thing is I can't think about. Didn't the original also technically have that? Because didn't you use the C stick?
You did kind of use it, but it had a lock-on feature. If you remember, like you would hold
Oh,
down L
right.
to like lock onto enemies, then you would just like circle strafe around them.
Yeah, I guess had forgotten that. God, controlling options are so much better now.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
just so
and
much nicer.
that's such a big cool deal too. Is that the fact that they actually did that, added that in there, and it looks better. Character models are updated, the environments are updated, like a lot more polys. Things just look nice. It's really more of a remake. They call it remastered, but it's way closer to like a remake.
Right. Looks gorgeous. Then you got Master Detective's Archive, Rain Code, which
Which is Danganronpa guys, his next game after Dang Old Grandpa.
dang old grandpa.
Danganronpa. They're mystery. They're like whodunit games, and they're fun. But they're pretty involved, so it's like you can't play too many. Like I tried playing like one and then two right after one, and it was like, okay, no, I can't. No, like I have to like give yourself a break because they're very long and involved, like visual novel / detective murder mystery games. Very cool. Cool that it's happening. I think I got a release date of like
June
June
30th.
30th. Yeah.
Right. Metroid Prime Remaster was obviously the digital version was yesterday. It was literally like on the day. Amazing. There's going to be physical ones in stores February 22nd.
Yeah.
So if you want to own that on a card, there you go. That's fucking cool. I think for the Metroid Prime fans are probably going to want the physical copy. Then you got like Baiten Kaitos 1 and 2 remaster,
which was rumored, but I didn't think it was true at all. But it's happening.
So I remember when that first came out, and I don't. I remember that there were several people who really liked it, but I guess I just wasn't aware of how beloved.
It's a little hard to wrap because no, they didn't sell that well. Their battle system's a little hard to wrap your head around, but when you do, it's actually kind of fun.
Right, it's cards that you get
Yeah,
randomly
the
dealt.
one weird thing about the remasters here are that they're gonna have like sort of like cheat enables. You're gonna be able to do like little like cheats to like turn off battles, do this or whatever. So autosaves could be good. But apparently they're only going to be in Japanese. Like even though both games were dubbed in English,
They're just
apparently they're just cutting the English dubs out of these releases. They're just whatever. It's just the Japanese version.
Is that a voice acting thing, or they just don't want to put the time in?
I don't know. It's weird because like the voice acting in 1 is notoriously bad, and then the voice acting in 2 is really good. So it's very strange. I don't know what the reasoning there for Namco, but apparently Namco's still involved. They own the IP, so they're publishing it technically, I guess.
They probably just don't want to. There's probably like some sort of payment that they have to do for the English voice actors.
And they're just like no.
Just like fuck all that.
But here we are, with day and age. We got an HD remaster for Baiten Kaitos 1 and 2. Xenosaga can go like suck eggs or something.
And that is coming summer 2023.
Yep.
Followed by Fantasy Life, which
that was the other level 5 game. They're basically their fucking Animal Crossing.
Right. I was gonna say it's Animal Crossing, but maybe that's insulting.
No, it's Animal Crossing with the ability to whack things.
Animal Crossing with combat, sign me up. If you're excited about that, great. It's not for me. Professor Layla the World.
Yeah, Layton coming back. Awesome.
Yeah, you're all about that.
They were fun. They're really good, fun games.
They really breezed past this one though.
I just thought they were because nothing's been done. Like it was like, okay, they're basically saying we're gonna make another one. We've done nothing.
Fair. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe finally getting more.
Well, it's getting a new course, a course that isn't from an old game, and it's getting Birdo added to the character roster.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they didn't add more characters to the roster. I'm not sure what the deal was with the DLC.
I'm surprised they haven't just released a new Mario Kart yet.
Because this one sold 52 million copies.
Yeah, that's insane. But you'd think,
the numbers got updated, earlier in 52 million copies of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe have been sold. So that's why.
that's pretty intense.
It's like almost that's almost not quite, but it's like it's almost 50% attach rate. Like half of the people who buy a Switch buy Mario Kart 8.
Which makes sense. I guess, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's the number one game I would bring for a long flight.
Yeah, so
Like me and Elise can just play that. And now there's like I guess modern planes and stuff have plugs near the seats, and you can get
a
like
lot of them do.
you can just plug the Switch in.
Yeah, like I think it's 40%. 40% specifically of the people who buy a Switch buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's why they're not making Mario Kart 9.
Crazy.
Yeah, they had a rapid fire of a bunch of indies and small title stuff, blah blah blah. And then we got to talk about Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, we got to close out the episode talking about Zelda.
Yeah, first the elephant in the room. It's $70.
Wild.
Yeah, like and then 130 for the collector's edition.
So they're charging next gen prices for arguably 2 generation old.
Oh yeah.
And they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. And then they're just gonna start charging $70 for all their games.
All right. And I don't know how much shit this poor man got, but there was a very I don't know, he's a much bigger streamer than me. And he said something yesterday right after the direct that I really did feel like hard in me bones. I'm trying to find the exact because Twitter being what it is. Here it is. So, and I'm not taking credit for it. So I don't know if it's Gothalion or Gothilion. I don't know how he pronounces it, but he loves the first Breath of the Wild. Like he loves it, right? And he said something feels off about Tears, and I can't put my finger on it.
I can tell you what it is. It's
said,
just Princess Mononoke.
He says both of my daughters said it looked like a mod. Dissected the trailer and visited its locations in Breath of the Wild on stream. While I'm very excited to explore more Zelda lore, the fact that this game began as DLC for Breath of the Wild is obvious. And if I feel apprehensive of Breath of the Wild being my favorite game, I'm curious. Yeah, and he's very much like it kind of falls in line with the whole $70 thing. I'm like, I looked at this trailer and I was like, why did this take 6 years? Like, I'll be real. Like, we're seeing same areas from the same map. We're seeing a lot of the same enemies. We saw Lizafulse and Hinoxes and other things. They had like some war paint on them or whatever that was different. But it's like so much of that game that we've seen looks like a dedicated group of modding community made it. Like,
right.
I don't know how it took so long. I don't know why it's justifying a fucking $70 price increase. Do I think the game will be good? Yes. Do I think, will I have to play? I have to play. Like, will it be fun to play through? Probably. Is it, I don't think the game's going to be bad, but I think we can have a rational discussion here about, did it really need to take this long? Does it justify costing more?
Right.
Because Nintendo said, like, they made a statement to some, I forget which outlet, saying that, like, yes, it will be $70. No, this is not standard going forward. We like, as always, we operate every game on a case by case basis. So you've just decided that people will pay $70 for this, so we're just going to do it. Like, they're just being openly, nakedly greedy. Like, case by case basis, you're going to pay $70, so we're going to charge $70. And then on top of it, okay, so it had okay, you can combine parts of like things to make vehicles and flying equipment now. So you can literally Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts shit in the game. And that's kind of nice.
Hell yeah.
But
that's why Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is my favorite Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, sure it is. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, what did we wait so long for? What are we paying so much for? Why are we paying any amount more for this?
I'm sort of hoping that there's gonna be some surprises. Like temples are gonna
Right.
make a big
And
comeback,
I
and
yeah, because they didn't confirm that. Like they didn't confirm like dungeons or anything. We
well,
got like
we
a
don't really know fuck all about the game,
That's
really.
the other thing too. So part of me is almost like maybe wait because there's gonna be a Zelda focused direct, right? Like in
Gotta be,
April.
yeah.
There's gonna be like a big in-depth blowout on the game.
Oh yeah,
I just have to say that after this many years, this many years after it being announced, because it was announced in what, like 2019 or 2020, um, this far away from its initial announcement, to me is kind of like you every little bit you release doesn't look. I don't know. Like there's part of me that's kind of like, what are we seeing new here? We're seeing floating, like, parts of the world map are now floating in the sky, but it's like it's still the same fucking world map.
and the Master Sword and Link's arm are ruined.
Yeah.
Link's
Yeah.
got Princess Mononoke arm.
Yeah, he's got Prism on a yeah, exactly. As if the first game wasn't Ghibli enough.
All
Like
right,
it's
yeah, this is just what it's gonna be. I think something that concerns me is they haven't really addressed any of the concerns of the first game in the new. Like, we still don't know if weapon durability is a thing.
I expect it will be. I expect they may tweak how long they last, maybe.
Yeah, I imagine that if the map is almost entirely the same, the mechanics are going to be entirely the same. Um, I do wonder if they, part of the reason why it was so big is they're not doing randomly generated. I don't even think those little temples were randomly generated, but they did
No.
feel that way. Um,
Yeah.
they did. They were
They did.
pretty.
No, you're 100% right. The shrines, whatever.
Maybe now they'll have like more temples. It'll be a temple that you go to.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Was what I want.
and that'll be cool. I also kind of hope that the areas of the map are a little bit more differentiated.
Mhm.
Granted, it's not like Breath of the Wild didn't have distinct areas, the Gerudo Valley and shit
Yeah.
like it did. But sort of when I think back on Breath of the Wild, and it's been a couple of years since I've played it, a lot of it runs together. Like the middle of the map, like the
Yeah.
middle area of the map just kind of all runs together. And then, there's Gerudo Valley and the water area. A little bit like I want a little bit more differentiation
Yeah.
with the
Yeah, I feel
floating
you.
stuff. And yeah, all right,
Like
they
we
could do it.
definitely saw stuff like underground where he's like fighting things with new weapons under, like, in caves, big caves or big underground areas. So
Yeah,
part of me is kind of like, okay, like my hope is that it's not okay. I hope there's dungeons. I hope it's not just like there's like there's like a little bit of the map that runs underneath the map, and then there's a little bit of the map where it's like above in the sky, and that's how they differentiated the map. Is that like you take
right.
Hyrule map, you put some shit in the sky, you add some tunnels underground. Ah, new game.
There you go, guys. No, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt just because I can't think of a single Zelda game I've played that I thought was bad.
No,
I know there are
and
bad Zelda games.
I don't think this game will be
It's
bad.
not gonna be, yeah, it's just it might not be. I wonder how they are gonna justify the higher price tag.
Yeah,
They're gonna make some sort of argument.
exactly. To me, it's just kind of like I feel like the game's going to be fine, but I feel like we should call out Nintendo here for being fucking greedy about this.
Right. I wonder how many people are gonna be like, well, they're a company. What do you expect them to do? I'm like, well, okay. Then we just won't say anything.
There's part of me that doesn't want to buy it right away just because of this. Because I'm like, well, if I buy it, I'm part of the problem, But then it's like, well, but then you're a streamer, like you have to fucking stream it.
Yeah, you're in a pickle.
I'm in
You're
a bit of
fucked.
a pickle. Like,
I can protest. I'll just watch you stream it.
yeah. Feel free to. Maybe that's the thing. Like, watch me stream it because I'm going to give everyone the realest, honest, least bootlicking opinion on the next Zelda game.
We can hope. I wonder how it's going to fit into the mess of Zelda games, as it is. But
Yeah, how are they going to fuck this up?
so we'll close on a positive. I think for me, the most positive thing is finally the Advance Wars reboot hard date. It's coming. That was one of the most exciting things for me because I really like those games.
That's a nice victory for the poor Advance Wars fans. You're not the only
It's
one either.
It's a
So
fucking win for me.
yeah,
You obviously had it was a very good direct for you.
very good.
Outside of the obvious, is there any not obvious game that you're like, this is a big fucking win for me?
Like that I didn't know about or didn't expect. Maybe
Yeah.
that Disney Illusion game looks like it could be a lot of fun. I feel like maybe that gets a little slept on. Having a good fun co-op platformer. I don't know, always a good time.
Well, yeah,
That
I
that
guess that's fair. I should have known that was going to be what you said because platformer, but
I
I
don't
sort
know.
of
I'm
expected to say
excited
Sea of
for.
Stars.
Well, I felt like I couldn't because
You expected it.
would that be
Yeah.
too obvious? Would that be too expected? Because I've talked
Yeah,
about it.
that's fair.
Would I? I'm like Samba's a big one for me, just because it's like I don't know. I have fond memories of that on the Dreamcast.
Oh, you got nostalgia for it.
A little bit, a little bit. I don't know. Really will depend on the song list. Really going to depend on the song
Yeah,
list there.
fair.
I don't know. I felt like Samba was a Game Boy. I'm really excited for Game Boy shit, especially since it is online.
Yeah, I've got a lot of nostalgia for Game Boy shit. It's one of the reasons why I keep looking at the analog. That can play all the different Game Boy games. I keep
Yeah,
looking at that thing and
I
keep
hate
like
that I don't have an analog pocket.
I keep looking at it like I should just fucking buy it. I can play all my old games.
Yeah,
I don't know. But all right. So obviously the question for this week's episode, you can tweet it to us or you can comment on YouTube or in the Discord. What's the game that shocked you? There's obvious winners here. This might be
oh
one of the
yeah,
best directs in a long time. But what's the not obvious winner? And I
yeah.
swear to God, if all of you say Pikmin 4, yeah, Pikmin 4, just to spite me on making a joke about Pikmin. Um, I'm trying to think what's going to be the thing that will shock me the most if like a ton of people are like, I'm really looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be Tron Identity.
I think it's going to be Deca Police.
Deca Police, maybe. Yeah, I guess that could.
I think a bunch of people are going to be like, "They'll look great. I love the."
Like, I
Okay.
expect a lot of people will be on board with Bayonetta Origins.
I expect Metroid Prime being a big fucking thing for
Metroid
most
Prime's
people.
going to be a big thing for most people. But yeah, I guess Tron Identity, Deca Police would be something that makes me go like, oh, wow, all right.
Yeah, who Tron is very much in the like, who is this for? Like, who amongst the
I,
Tron fans were like, I need a visual novel of Tron?
right. I'm not even trying to hate. I just legitimately don't know who it's for. Like, I don't know a Tron fan that would be the thing about Tron that would bring him in.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
it is, please explain why. Give us
Yeah.
in-depth reasons on lore.
Not even trying to be a dick. Legitimately want the tweet thread. Just
Yes.
let me know. But as always, we have producers to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was Chase R. And our producers for this episode are the Schmidt one. The Schmidt one's a new producer. Thank you, the Schmidt one. Screwnami, Kroy35, Hyperviper89, Ziggy Z, and Online Persona. Thank you, dudes, and we will catch you next time.
Later, dudes.